Black people. Black people, we've got to fight. Jean Petro, you see us. Oh, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh, Black people, we've got to fight. Zombie, you see us. Oh, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh, Black people, we've got to fight. Yes, Santa, why you see us? Oh, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh, Black people, we've got to fight. Bookman, you see us. Oh, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh,
we have to have the courage to construct our own reality. And that's what Garvey was talking about. Because he said he looked around, he didn't see what he thought should be there, and so what did he do? He didn't get depressed about it. He didn't get defeated about it. He said, I'm going to build the government that we need to have. Ooh, where do you get that kind of boldness from? So we got to go all the way back to Garvey, who said he would come again. He said he would be here with us, no matter how long it took. And I'm telling you that the way he comes back is in our work. Not honoring him in words, pomp and all of that stuff, but honoring him through doing what he did. How many of us have the courage to do that? The man took on the world for us and in our name. And then we come to Sodai. And in this presentation of the paradigm, I'm going to make this like what it is we want to reach. So Sodai is translated clear word in Dogana language. And I use it to mean that here we gain understanding. This is sight with understanding. And it is seeing beyond what just we think we see with this physical thing. It's seeing beyond that. And so we gain vision, because that's what vision is. With vision, you've got to be able to use the imagination informed by the African spirit. And Brother Amos, who I work very closely with, was a good friend of mine. He taught me, and he would talk about imagination. Image a nation. Do you see? But that's got to be part of vision. To be a visionary, you got to see beyond this box here. You got to see beyond the ma'afa. You got to see what is it that our people rightfully should have, and that's what Garvey did. Garvey had a vision.
Tenda Mwali, be thankful unto the Mother, Father, creative life force of the universe. Kudzai, Mudzimu, Mukulu. We give praises unto our great ancestors. Abibi to me, Abibi Fahodi, African power and African liberation for all African people. Greetings and welcome, brothers and sisters. We're there. We're live this evening on Kimbunga Media, and we're now ramp. I will now joke with the thing, hoping that brothers and sisters are all well, wherever you are, wherever you may be tuning in from. We encourage you to hit up the like button, hit up the like button as you come through. Yes, indeed. Share the link far and wide. Let the people know that Shakara is live in session right about now on Kimbunga Media. Yes, indeed, brothers and sisters, we are here. We thank you for joining us because we know that we had another show scheduled for today. And for those who are here in the hope of hearing that show and we're over on the link to that show, you would be aware by now that we have had to postpone our show, which is the part 2 of my conversation with Brother Heru Ofori Atta concerning the Pan-African credentials or lack thereof of Paul Kagame, President Paul Kagame of Rwanda. And that conversation has been particularly sparked by the happenings in the Congo, particularly the Eastern Congo, as it stands right about now. Well, unfortunately, our brother has requested a postponement so that he can deal with some pressing matters concerning his endeavors, brothers and sisters, his business endeavors. And so, obviously we've agreed in principle for that to take place. And therefore, our brother will be with us later in the month. The date is not as yet set. The date is not as yet finalized. But once it is, we will make sure that you are fully aware of Wagwan and that you'll be able to tune in, brothers and sisters. Yeah, it's a very, very important conversation. And ones may be thinking, that this is just about who's right and wrong about the individual Paul Kagame. And I want to, relieve us, of that particular delusion. Yes, discussing the individual Paul Kagame, his policies, his actions, his life, his legacy, etc., is an important part of the conversation. But really, we are actually engaging in political education concerning what does and does not represent Pan-African revolutionary activity, discourse, policies, etc. in the 21st century and beyond. And much confusion is to be found in these conversations in this day and age. There is so much confusion, and if there's one thing that Kimbunga Media is here to do, is to provide clarity, to provide a platform through which we can explore those dynamics, and through that exploration to provide clarity, brothers and sisters. There are so many people out here who are claiming to be Pan-Africanist, and when you hear their conversation, you're hearing more promotion of Donald Trump than you are hearing promotion of Pan-African principles, values, policies, ideals, brothers and sisters. That is happening as it stands at the moment. There are people out here who are claiming to be Pan-Africanists, and when you hear their talking points, they sound more like Andrew Tate and Kevin Samuels than they do a Pan-African organizer concerned with the interests of the masses of African people, brothers and sisters. There are people out here who claim to be Pan-Africanists, and when you hear them speak, they sound like Kamala Harris's disgruntled campaign manager more than they sound like a campaigner on behalf of the masses of African people. And so we are here, to simply assist in crystallizing the thing, providing the clarity where it is needed, and providing the platform for the conversations. And so, as a result of the fact that we've had to postpone our brother the conversation, sorry, with our brother Heru Ofori Atta. I am just going live today just to let you know what the case is. Our brother is fine. Our brother is good. There's nothing particularly wrong with the brother. He just needs to take care of some business. And so he has dutifully informed us of this. And we are doing our best to accommodate our brother at a future date. So apologies for all the inconvenience. Apologies for all those who were looking forward to that particular conversation. As it stands right now, it definitely will take place. And we will inform you about when it's going to take place. I have shared the link, in the chat. I have shared the link in the chat for anybody who wants to come through. You know what I'm saying? You can feel free to do so, brothers and sisters. Feel free to do so. Feel free to do so. At the moment, I'm not even planning to be here long. I just wanted to connect with brothers and sisters, make you know what Guan in this time, in this world. And didn't want to just leave the the page with a postponement notice, but wanted to inform you myself, personally, you know what I mean? And make that physical connection, especially because we did not have a live last week. Yeah. So we're there, and we hope that you are all well wherever you are. Big up the chat, bigging up the one and only Sosa in the building. Much appreciated for your presence, my sister. Chikezi. Big up yourself, big up yourself, big up yourself. Big up Shabaka in the building. And give thanks. Yeah, you just became familiar with us, but we appreciate you nonetheless. So make sure you subscribe and all of these things. Yeah. And we look forward to sharing more of the energy and more of the vibration with you. Big up Melaman, you know what I'm saying? You done know, King. Much appreciated as always. And all of the big up. I don't know how you pronounce that something, yeah. CN, I don't know, Chal, Chal. I don't know how you pronounce that something, yeah. I not lie to you. I can't figure it out. But figure yourself same way. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate your presence around here. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we're there. I say, as I said, brothers and sisters, the link is in the chat, so anybody can click that link if they want to. It's open house, so you can raise any issue where you want to raise. And there's, I don't have a specific topic, but one of the things that has been apparent, and by the way, I'm going to do some community announcements in a second because there's a few things coming up in the UK, that we need to highlight. One of which, for those who are familiar with formerly Reverend Joseph, now known as Changamire Maponga, an elder brother from Azania, South Africa, who currently resides in, elder from Zimbabwe, who currently resides in Azania, South Africa, was a former Seventh-day Adventist minister, and became very popular for his projection of African spiritual ideals, brothers and sisters. A very, very powerful and insightful elder brother. He's actually coming to the UK next month. Yeah, he's actually coming to the UK next month. And so we're going to be sharing that information with you shortly. I'm just trying to make sure I can bring up for you properly, brothers and sisters, in the background here. So bear with I, you know what I mean? Bear with I. But we'll get there shortly. And also the Omawale Malcolm X observances, celebrating the centenary of the birth of Omawale Malcolm X, will be taking place next month also. And so we'll be bringing you some information on that shortly as well. So do stay tuned. I will be involved in the organizing of celebrations for the centenary of Papa Patrice Lumumba as well. Very much looking forward to that, because I feel like that's a name that doesn't get the proper, due ratings and respect that it deserves. Rereading this man's story at the moment, and it's truly amazing, the journey that ancestor went through, and the fact that he was assassinated and right up until the end, brothers and sisters, he stood firm. Yeah, he stood firm on his square. But the whole dynamics of Congo at that time, a lot of us kind of ridiculed the study of history. Yeah. But as Omawale Malcolm X have said, of all of our efforts, history is best qualified to reward our research. And there's so much that we can learn from his story. And beyond just the learning, the knowledge, and the information, there's so much inspiration, yeah, that we can learn from studying the life of a man like Papa Patrice Lumumba. And so, yeah, do stay tuned for more where that is concerned. Want to reiterate, the link is in the chat. The link is in the chat for anybody who wants to join the panel, raise any issue that you want to raise. There is something that I am going to talk about, whilst may or may not be preparing to come on the platform. We're having open house for those who are just joining us because our brother Heru Ofori Atta has requested a postponement of our scheduled conversation today, and so we have dutifully acquiesced to that request, and so we are looking forward to hosting our brother again soon. Give thanks. Right, brothers and sisters, let me let you know, I'm going to bring this up right about now. If you want to come, if you're there in the UK and you want to come to the Omawale Malcolm X Centennial celebration, brothers and sisters, you can get your tickets at kimbungamedia.com. Yeah, kimbungamedia.com is the place to get your tickets, and we're gonna show you the website right about now, so you know where I'm going, and you know where fiddle. You know what I mean? So yeah, brothers and sisters, stay tuned. We're gonna bring that to you right now. And so simply go to kimbungamedia.com, scroll down, and your tickets are right. Hey. Well, they were right there. Something's gone wrong there. I have to check where I go on. But yeah, you're supposed to be able to get your tickets on the website here, brothers and sisters. So do stay tuned. But as it stands right about now, you can get all the information that you need. Yeah. I'm gonna double check where I go on for the glitches. You know what I'm saying? The glitches in the thing. It looked like somebody has changed something in the team. You know what I'm saying? So we need to just check that out and see where I go on. Outside of that, brothers and sisters, do go to kimbungamedia.com for all of the relevant information regarding excuse me, the Omawale Malcolm X observance taking place. Omawale Malcolm X Centennial Grand Celebration taking place on Saturday, the 17th of May, brothers and sisters. Yeah. I am pleased to share with ones and ones that I'll be hosting the event. Brother Leadat Bandaka will be doing the keynote address. We're gonna have some significant performances as well. For those who are Speakers Corner enthusiasts, I've spoken to Uncle Dan Juma, and he, all being well, for those who are familiar with Uncle Dan Juma's Facebook, you will know that he's been going through some challenges himself, but he's on the other side of those challenges, and is on the mend, so to speak. And so we look forward to hosting him if he's able. But he has agreed 100% if he's able to be there representing as well. So I'm just letting you know, kimbungamedia.com, kimbungamedia.com, for more information, brothers and sisters, when it comes to Omawale Malcolm X Grand Celebration. Yeah, do check that out. I'm trying to see Wagwan for the ticket situation, because someone might want to buy a ticket right, So yeah, it's all there. So obviously somebody has changed something, brothers and sisters, which means that it's not showing up as it should be. So I'll be checking out what's happening with that in the background, and updating accordingly. Yeah, right now, yeah, everything is saying that it should be showing normally. So yeah, we'll just have to figure out what's happening there, and we will get back to you shortly, brothers and sisters, where that is concerned. But do stay tuned, and we apologize for any inconvenience, that is being experienced with people wanting to get their tickets right about now. We apologize. All right. Okay. That said, get your information at kimbungamedia.com. You can also download the flyer and sign up to our mailing list if you want further information going forward. Okay. Right. Having said all of that, let me stop sharing this, and I'm going to let you know about the information regarding the tour of Baba Maponga Malala, brothers and sisters. So do stay tuned. In a second, I'm going to share my thoughts here on not the actual film series itself, or the series itself, because I actually haven't watched it. I will be watching it, but I haven't watched it as yet. But if you're, well, I was going to say if you live in the UK, apparently this is a global phenomenon. The world is talking about this series, this drama series called Adolescence right now. Yeah. And which claims to be addressing issues of masculinity and where young boys, are getting their ideas of manhood from, and the idea that these ideas of manhood are developing significant levels of misogyny in the youth. I just want to share an observation on some of the conversation that I have been seeing. Yes, I'm going to do that shortly. Before I do that, however, let me share with you some information about Africa Liberation Day, ALD, which officially is the 25th of May, brothers and sisters, but it is celebrated here around the bank holiday at the end of May. Okay. And so Africa Liberation Day is going to be taking place in Birmingham, UK, brothers and sisters, on the 26th of May, 2025. The registration is from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and the main program starts at 12 p.m. brothers and sisters. We are going to be joined by, as already stated, His Royal Highness Changamire J. Maponga, very well known, in these YouTube streets. So do check him out if you haven't checked him out already. But flying in all the way from Azania, South Africa, Baba Changamire J. Maponga. We will also be joined by Baba James Small and King Woman, Her Majesty Mambokadzi Aluko. King Woman, Her Majesty Mambokadzi Aluko. Assuming that Mambokadzi also sounds like a Shona name. And so I'm going to assume that our mama is coming in from Southern Africa, if not Zimbabwe or Azania, South Africa, but she's also flying in from Southern Africa as well. I'm going to assume that. Not too familiar with our mama, but I'm sure she's brilliant and erudite if she's on the bill for Africa Liberation Day. So do stay tuned for more information on Africa Liberation Day. For more information, if you want stories and them kind of thing there, you can email Pan-African Congress Movement at gmail.com. Yeah, Pan-African Congress Movement at gmail.com. And I'm trying to find, you can get tickets at Eventbrite, brothers and sisters. So just simply search Africa Liberation Day on Eventbrite, and all the information will be there. Okay. All right. So come true. Now, some of you may not be able to travel to Birmingham for that particular visit. Well, you're in luck, brothers and sisters. Well, we are encouraging you to come to Birmingham. All right. But for those of us who are in London, so I will most likely be at both of these events. But for those of us who are in London, Baba Maponga will be speaking in London along with Baba James Small and King Woman Her Majesty Mambokadzi Aluko on the 1st of June. Yeah, Sunday, the 1st of June, brothers and sisters. Yeah, so do stay tuned for more information on this. But that's taking place in London, Tottenham, the Tottenham Community Sports Centre. That's 701 to 703 High Road, Tottenham, London N17 8AD, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. That's Sunday, the 1st of June. Once again, our tickets can be accessed on okay, I'm not seeing a ticket information here. I don't want to. Oh yes, there we go. Eventbrite, yeah, Eventbrite. So AOD search PACM ALD 50, and that is also the case. That is the 50th anniversary of the celebration of ALD, the observance of ALD in the UK. Remembering that African Liberation Day has been celebrated since 1963. Hold on, you're seeing the wrong thing at the moment. 1 second, I need to just change over the situation. Hold on, I just realized. Right, it's live, brothers and sisters. Another thing go. I see what's going on here. Okay, all right. So it didn't. All right, so let me stop sharing and start sharing again. Lot of mercy. Okay. So let's do it this way. In fact, let's do it this way. Yeah. So this is for the London leg of the tour, brothers and sisters. All right. Once again, the 1st of June. Yeah, we're gonna make it know wagwan. So that's the London leg of the tour. Okay. And once again, the 1st of June, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Baba Maponga is going to be joining us alongside Baba James Small and King Woman, Her Majesty Mambokazi Aluko, brothers and sisters. All right, so come true. You know what I'm saying? London Massive. If you can't come to Birmingham, they'll be here with us in London. It's open house, so if you want to come through on the platform and talk whatever you want to talk, feel free to click that link right about now. The link is in the chat. The link is in the chat. The link is in the chat. But they are not just coming to London and Birmingham, brothers and sisters. They are not just coming to London and Birmingham. They are also going to be joining us over here, UK family, in Bristol. Yes, indeed, brothers and sisters. Bristol is taking place on the 24th of May. The 24th of May. 2025 from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. Once again, all information on Eventbrite. Yeah, check that out. Well, that's at the Malcolm X Community Centre over there in Bristol. Cal, I see you. I'll be coming to you very shortly. Do stay tuned. And let me just remove that one now. And let me just give you the details. Finally, for the session in Manchester. Yes, indeed, Manchester family. We are going to be coming with Baba Maponga, Baba Small, and Mama Aluko to Manchester as well. Yeah, the Manchester leg is taking place on the 25th of May. The 25th of May, Sunday, the 25th of May. From 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. All right. So once again, brothers and sisters, all information to be found on Eventbrite. Yeah, serious business agwan. And if you know the man Changamire Maponga, and if you know African history, you know that Changamire is a title, in fact, that is associated with the Monomotapa Empire, which expand over a significant proportion of what we now call Southern Africa, brothers and sisters. Yeah, and so it's often associated with Zimbabwe, but the Monomotapa Empire is actually a lot bigger than what we now call Zimbabwe. And so, give thanks for the spirit of our elders, and we look forward to receiving them, even though, if you've been paying attention to some of the pronouncements of Baba J. Small, and you've been paying attention to us here at Kimbunga Media, you will know that we have some significant differences of perspective with our elder brother at this time. And we'll see if those differences are explored at any point throughout the tour, brothers and sisters. But nonetheless, we look forward to receiving our elder and interacting with him. Okay. Let me pause my announcements. Bring forward Kyle. It's open house, brothers and sisters. It's open house. So feel free, to click the link, which is in the description. If you have anything that's on your mind that you want to reason with Shakara about, I'm inviting you to come forward. We are doing so just for those who are just reaching us, just arriving. Our scheduled conversation that was supposed to be with our brother, Heru Oforiata, has had to be postponed. Our brother has requested a postponement so that he can address some challenges that he's dealing with at the moment. And so we have agreed. Our brother is well. His challenges are more of an organizational and business nature. He just got to put some attention to where that is concerned. And so much appreciated to our brother for letting us know so that we could let you know. And once we have secured the date with our brother, we will make you know, and that conversation will happen. The conclusion of our previous conversation will certainly happen, brothers and sisters. So right now, I haven't done this for a while, and brothers and sisters have been requesting it just to do an open house conversation. And I may read something from one of the editions of the African World newspaper at some point as well, but we'll see how the conversation goes. All right. But for now, feel free to click the link, which is in the chat. The link is in the chat. The link is in the chat. The link is in the chat. If you want to come through and have a conversation with Shakara this evening, if you're upon Femicide Adiwata. Right then, brother Kyle.
Yes, brother.
How are you?
I'm doing great, and
good.
Nice to be here with you again. I was looking forward to hearing from the brother.
Yes.
Even ask him.
You cut out there, brother Kyle. Okay, brother Omkaz.
Oh, can you hear me now? Right, like
yes,
this?
I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I'm on a tablet and I was trying to. There was an echo which was coming back. I was trying to cut.
I will mute while you're talking. I'll mute while you're talking. Go ahead.
Oh yes, yeah. I was looking forward to, no, not you, but probably it was my background video on YouTube which was creating the problem. Yeah,
I understand.
Yeah, since it's postponed, it's postponed, and I saw that. You're gonna have a conversation, or you're gonna have a meetup, like that tour with Baba Small, Older Maponga, and others. As I've told you before, I am in a group where we have scholars, who have worked on the issue in the Kivus vis-a-vis to Rwanda on history and all that.
Yes.
And we were lucky these few weeks to get a platform on the South African YouTube so as to debunk most of the narratives coming from Rwanda. And we have been trying to get in touch with Professor James Small and Maponga, but we haven't been successful yet. So
answer me this, my brother, because I haven't heard Baba Maponga's pronouncements on this issue.
He posted
and
I read the post. He posted something on Facebook.
Okay.
Yes, he posted something on Facebook, and
so are his sentiments similar to that of Baba James Small?
Kind of, yes. He tended towards that as well. So
yeah, most unfortunate.
And as I've told you before, last time I was hoping this time. For this time, I'm not gonna leave you until you send me. You give me your email, maybe in the.
I know, my brother. I apologize. So let me say this to you. I did forget that something happened in between you leaving your email and me copying it and trying to paste it, and it didn't quite paste properly. And then when I came back to the chat, it was gone. And so I got a message from your cousin, I believe it is. So I attempted to send him the email, my email, so that you could get in contact with me. But I'm not sure if you saw it. So yes, definitely, I'm gonna post my email for you right now.
Please.
And and we'll make it happen. But yeah, go ahead, conclude your statement. So finish your
Yes.
statement.
Yeah, so on something nice for, we were lucky, finally to get a space on something for dinner. One of there this week, debunking all that myth of, I know that for Mzee Nyerere, I understand, because at that time they were using that as an alibi or a pretext to, to invade Congo and like depose Mobutu, or, but it was not that it's a true history. It's just an alibi or a pretext which they had to use. So
Absolutely.
when Mbeki repeated it, we've tried to reach out to to the center where he's a director in Switzerland. We haven't got back the feedback, but we're gonna try to reach out to to the institution in South Africa as well, so as to send him documents and all the proofs to show that it's not true what he has been. We understand that sometimes it can be that it can be used as what they call to legitimize the fight, the M23 and all, the rebellion. Sometimes they can use our elders or our leaders who we have been looking at, but we know how the system works. So that has been our duty to reach out, so that one day they may not say that we never knew.
Absolutely. Allow me to just explain, brother Omkal, for those who may not be too familiar with what it is that you're referring to. What our brother is speaking about is the fact that Joseph Mobutu, who was the president of Congo from around 1965, although technically a little bit before that, until 1997, was one of the people responsible for the murder of Papa Patrice Lumumba.
Correct.
After which he instituted a very brutal neo-colonial regime over the people of Congo, with the support, the backing, and the sustenance of Britain, of France, of America, of Belgium, and the rest of the European powers. They sustained him in that position for 30 plus years. And whilst he was in that position, he committed many what they call human rights abuses. And when that became too, obvious, to keep a lid on, basically when they were done with him, they wanted to get rid of Mobutu. And so they used Paul Kagame in Rwanda, Yoweri Museveni in Uganda, and also some genuine freedom fighters in the Congo who had been fighting against Mobutu since the 1960s. And so all of these, under the pretext of getting rid of Mobutu, this alliance was formed between these forces. Some of them were sincere, some of them were stooges and puppets for Western interests, right? And so what our brother Omkal is speaking to is that there are some who are saying that because of the fact that the Rwandan military, under the leadership of Paul Kagame, was a part of that military force that fought against Mobutu, that is a feather in Kagame's cap, something that legitimizes his placement as a Pan-African, a genuine progressive Pan-African leader. And what our brother Omkal is saying is that there's much illusion and delusion around that particular subject, and that needs to be explored more. I am not going to go into that more today, only because I suspect that this will come up, because it did come up before in my conversation with brother Heru.
And another one,
we'll readjust it there. But go ahead, continue, my brother.
Yes. And you are correct on that. There is also another point. They used the pretext of our brothers and sisters, Congolese of Rwandan origin, like the group or the label, the neologism which they popularized in 1996, the Banyamulenge. For example, when I quote like Nyerere when he went to in New York at that gathering. It was like, as I always say, it's like when Colin Powell went to UN to defend the pretext like Iraq has weapon, biological weapon. The same way they were, Nyerere said, the Banyamulenge, I quote, are not immigrant to Congo.
Yeah,
they were there before colonialism, which is it's wrong,
Yes.
So that's what we've been trying to reach out to all these people so as we can clarify with historical facts and document proof, which are so
yeah,
that
no, I've seen this be a passionate issue among a lot of my Congolese brothers and sisters. But when I'm not sure if you saw my conversation with Uncle Loezi Kinshasa, maybe about a month or a bit more than a month ago. But he also made the point that you just made, in terms of the creation of the identity Banyamulenge, and etc. What and forgive my, because I've heard different arguments where this is concerned, in terms of the, whilst I understand the issue of Banyamulenge and that specific identity, what is your particular position on Kinyarwanda speakers in general?
All right.
And their presence in what is today called the Eastern Congo, bearing in mind that the border that separates Rwanda and Congo, as it stands at the moment, Burundi and Congo, Uganda and Congo, etc., is a colonial border. Where do you stand on the attempt to make a really rigid distinction between who was where, based upon that particular border?
Yes, thank you. Great question. And that's what we have been, trying to clarify. First of all, we are not, and for most Congolese, we are not saying that Kinyarwanda speaking, they cannot have Congolese citizenship. It's not that. That's not true. No, they can have Congolese citizenship. Now, when it's come to, to what you just said, and I will repeat, like even Mzee Nyerere said, stupid borders. I don't accept that they are stupid borders, because luckily me, I'm from there, and I've invested, I've take time to educate myself in the history of all this region. First of all, some of the borders there, they are natural borders, so they are not borders which were just put there by colonial. Yes, by colonial. No, it's not true. I'll give an example, like the southern border between Congo and Rwanda. There is a lake there, like a current border. There is a lake and there is a river. So it's a natural border. There is also a mountain. Now, when you go to history, and I can give even references like the book. There is, of course, I can refer to many African books, like a Congolese historian like Baba Teofilo Benga. Is not very well in the general history of Congo, but this is in French. So I better refer an English, written book, for example, King and Clans by Dr. David Newberry, in which he collaborated with two Rwandan professors. So even in today's Rwanda, there are lands actually which belong to ethnic groups, or what you can call chiefdoms, which came to be in the Congo today. For example, the Bashi, the Bahunde, So every time when the Banyarwanda, for example, like even in that books, Ntezimana, who is a Rwandan historian, and Nyagahene, they found that they clearly show that the today land of Bukunzi and Busozo was incorporated in Rwanda with the help of Belgium. That means we are saying it's after the Second World War, the First World War, when Rwanda was given to the Belgian to be a protectorate. So it's not true that those areas were occupied by Rwanda king or stuff. Then this is the thing in the Rwandan history. If you read really many books on Rwandan history, you'll understand that even until the 1850, Rwanda, what they present as ancient Rwanda kingdom was not bigger like today's Rwanda. No, it was a small kingdom in the area which they used to call Wanachambo region, in the area where today's Kigali is located.
Yeah.
That original Rwanda, ancient Rwanda kingdom. It's only later with the conquest of one of their king, Kigeri Rwabugiri, that he started conquering other, because around it there was other small chiefdom or kingdom, like the Nduga, the Bunyambiriri, there was Bugesera, and so on. It's only later that he incorporated that. And even if you go and read even German archives, you will find that the other lands, they came to be incorporated in Rwanda with the help of Germans.
Right.
You see? But unfortunately, there is an historian who tried to distort this history. So with that history, even some, like now our brothers, Kinyarwanda speaking in Congo, how they came to be in Congo. For example, if I refer to one of the great historians in that region, Jan Vasina, Professor Jan Vasina, in his book, The Evolution of Rwandan Kingdom from Origin to 1900, page 90, he showed that these people start crossing, because if you go to the maps, you'll see that between Congo, today's Congo and Rwanda, there is a chain of mountain on the side of Rwanda and the side of Congo. On the side of Rwanda, to the east of Lake Kivu, that mountain, that chain of mountain there, it's called Congo-Nile Divide. And sometimes they also used to call it Zaire-Nile Divide. So that's what divides the basins of Nile River to the east and to the west of Congo River.
Yeah.
That area, used to be populated by people today who you find to be Congolese tribe or Congolese origin.
Okay.
So another thing, now when Kigeri was pursuing this conquest, that when our brothers, who today they may qualify of Hutu social group, because they didn't want to be under that leadership, which was putting them as a serf, because it was a savage system, they started running away. And this is how they start running into chiefdom of Congolese, like Buhunde.
Yeah.
So even when they try to manipulate about the names like Nyiragongo, probably you will hear they will come up with this: Nyiragongo, Ruchuru, Nyamlagira, saying that it's Kinyarwanda names. No, these names are not Kinyarwanda. It's just with Bantu languages, there is a lot of similarities. These names are in the local languages of those regions. For example, this is when they meet a guy like me who knows the history of the area, and I start confronting them, they run away. Do you know that even today's region of, when you hear, do you know the region they call Gisenyi or Rubavu?
Yes.
Do you know that name is not even Kinyarwanda?
Okay.
That name is not Kinyarwanda. That's a Kihunde name, which came to be because of Western deformation.
Yeah.
And later on, with the demarcation now of that border, as you said, now that side of the area, that's where there is a border which the European actually created.
Right.
That land used to belong to the Bahunde people. And the origin of that name is Kieshenyi, which means place to go get firewood.
Okay.
You see? Later on, the Western wrote, instead of writing Kieshenyi, they wrote Kisenyi. And with the Rwandan pronunciation, it came to be Gisenyi. It's so obvious to the point that now the Kagame regime, so that to cover up that story, they've tried to change it with Rubavu.
So my brother, it sounds okay, because there's a lot in what you're saying, and there's some of the history that you're speaking to, a lot of it that I'm not an expert on. It's something that I'm still learning. And as these conversations progress, that aspect of the more or ancient history is something that I'm very much learning at the moment. But what I will say and get your opinion on this. By the way, brothers and sisters, the link is in the chat for anybody who wants to come through. Some of you have asked questions in the chat as well, so I'm gonna come to them in a second. If you want me to read out a comment or a question, please at kimbungamedia, and I will come to it and read it out. Otherwise, you can feel free to click the link, which is in the chat at the moment. We're having open house, so there's no specific topic. Feel free to just come through. The concern, my brother, that a lot of us have, and I was gonna say, just any African coming from a Pan-African point of view, that whether they're from Congo or Rwanda or otherwise, the concern that we have is that a lot of what is taking place at the moment has been projected to the world as quote unquote tribal warfare, and ethnic conflict, based upon either Hutu versus Tutsi or Tutsi discrimination, and or Rwanda versus Congo, people of Rwanda versus people of Congo. And so we're very sensitive to what's the word? Kind of reasoning or we're careful not to promote narratives that might feed into that vibration. So when I spoke to, I'm not sure if you saw the conversation that I had with brother Kambale Musavuli.
Yes, I saw that, and it was great.
Right. Yes, it's a beautiful conversation. If anybody have not seen it, and a very informative conversation as well. So if anybody has not seen it and you want to understand what is currently taking place in Congo and who are the players on the ground, I encourage you to check out our conversation with brother Kambale Musavuli. And so one of the things that he said, which was something, he said something to the degree of, there would be no problem if Uganda and Rwanda wanted to become part of Congo, and if they wanted to benefit from the resources, then there'll be no problem with that, and I appreciate that, because his point was we are not trying to balkanize and separate up ourselves even further. We're trying to come closer together politically and economically and benefit from our wealth in a shared and communal manner. And he's saying that charging the nation state of Rwanda with the crimes that that the government is guilty of, the same with Uganda and so on and so forth. He's saying that as a proud Congolese man, and also even within the history that you outline, and I take your point about natural borders, because that they do exist in nature, but even the history that you outline, like if, say for example, we know that the name Congo comes from the Bakongo people. Yes. But the region and even the kingdom or the empire of Congo didn't just encompass Bakongo people, right? There are not just Bakongo people in Congo. So even when we say Congolese, there are people that are not Mokongo, who are under that banner today because of the nation state barrier. And so that there appears to be a lot of the barriers and the stark distinctions between people groups, even in ancient times. They seem to be able to relate. Our people seem to be able to relate. Sometimes there was, we understand conflict, but oftentimes there seem to be political, social, and economic relationship between these various different groups of people from that time up until now. So we're very careful, and I'm not accusing you of this, I'm just putting this to you so you can respond to it. That we're very careful not to project narratives that might feed into what is commonly referred to as tribalism and fester the conflict even further. What do you say to that?
Yes, definitely. Even because I've studied a lot, I've spent my time, learning about the history of our people, especially eastern part of Congo, because that's where there is a problem. And I did that because of all the manipulation and the propaganda coming out of Rwanda. You see, for example, yes, our people had relationship. For example, even in a Bahunde tradition, they will tell you even the name Rwanda. What it means, it comes from Kihunde name Luanda. It means family, another family.
Right.
So they were not, although later on there will be some problem. For example, when Kigeri Wabugiri will try to attack the Bahunde in their region, which is today Kisenyi and the Goma area. You know, although that's happened, but at the beginning, when the Bahunde saw these people, you know, like coming to that region, they said, "Oh, there is another family which has just arrived." You see, that's how they were, you know, considering themselves. Of course, even with those problems, there was some time that when you know, there was exchange. But remember this: even in an African traditional African way of organization, every village knew their limits.
Their span, their
space. So, and the same with every, even if it's a small kingdom, people knew their limits. So when you left from your area, you go to your neighboring, you had to announce yourself to maybe a chief of village or something,
of course,
so that you are not mistaken to an enemy.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
You see?
Yes.
So, of course, when we say we talk about this border, some people, especially like all the PLO, he generalized stuff instead of going into. Sometimes we have to go into details to understand how border came to be.
Yeah.
Because, for example, yes, we Congolese, we are not. In general, we are not against or we are not enemies with even our Rwandan brothers and sisters. No, we know that it's not them. We know it's just the gang, the leadership, which is there, is the one. It's a group in the Rwandan community, especially of, you know, Kagame gang, who they think that they should control the whole region. They should rule over that whole region, and they are superior. They think that they are superior to other people. And that's the problem. It's not all Rwandan. And that's what is causing the chaos and the problem in that region.
Absolutely.
So, yes, relations existed. And they will continue to exist even after this issue.
Thank you for clarifying that, my brother. And, you know, it is important, regardless of our people, to have a proper understanding of the makeup, the peopling of the region. And so I look forward. Like I said, you've got my email now, so get in contact and we'll arrange something where you can go in. I'll give you the platform.
Yes, definitely.
And you can go in and share the information, because I'm sure that our audience will learn a lot from it. Much appreciated. I do enjoy. I love your spirit, my brother. You know, you seem to have a very warm and just spirit, and so we look forward to interacting with you.
Thank you. Thank you. We are same people. We have the same destiny. It's just you know, some of our leaders they don't seem to understand that.
Absolutely. And when we encounter them and they are responsible for the deaths or contributing, culpable with the deaths of millions of our people, we have to call them to task.
Oh, yes.
And we have to get rid of them.
And that's what as the Congolese, that's what I thank you for. And we thank you so much, brother Shakara.
Love my brother. Thank you very much for joining me. Much appreciated. All right, that's brother Omkal. And yes, we will hear more from our brother in the not too distant future, no doubt. So do stay tuned. For that, I want to big up my brother Sipiwe Baleka in the building. He is going to be contributing to our Omawale Malcolm X series between now and the centenary, the 100th birthday of Omawale Malcolm X. So do stay tuned. We begin that build up this week, brothers and sisters. This week, Friday, we're going to kick off with a speech from Omawale Malcolm X called Prospect for Freedom. So we're going to be sharing that with you. Later on in our build-up, we're going to have the aims and objectives of the Organization of Afro-American Unity. So do stay tuned. We're going to have a full reading of that particular document so that you understand what Omawale Malcolm X was building, in the process of building, when he was assassinated, brothers and sisters. And our brother Sipiwe has done a beautiful job in terms of contextualizing Omawale Malcolm X in relationship to the Revolutionary Action Movement, which he in fact was a member of. Few people know about the fact that even before the proper launching of the Organization of Afro-American Unity, Omwale Malcolm X had joined the Revolutionary Action Movement, and then following his assassination, those who were involved in the Revolutionary Action Movement and other organizations associated with the OAAU developed the Republic of New Africa. And so our brother is a member of the Republic of New Africa, the provisional government of the Republic of New Africa. And so goes into that history in detail and expert fashion. Yeah. So we really need to contextualize Omowale, right? We really need to understand, yeah, what the legacy was and what the man was dealing with. And so our brother has assisted in that regard. And then there'll be other presentations coming so that we can crystallize the legacy of Omowale Malcolm X leading up to our centennial grand celebration on the 17th of May. Want to big up my chief, my Mansa, in the building. Mansa Fode is in the building. Big up yourself. Big up to my sister Kenya, President, yeah, Kenya, Malinke Mansade. We appreciate you. Kemo Ben Israel is in the building. And him say Wagwan. And oh yeah, we don't hear that Shabaka already. All right, let me why are you in there twice though? All right. Setting is in the building. So let me go to Trinidad right about now. Setting how you do? Now you're frozen, my king. You're frozen. Everything I freeze about the place right now, right here now. Imhotep joining us from the ganja farm. You know the thing go. You know what I mean? You know the thing go. Brothers and sisters. All right. While I waiting for Imhotep to come back, let me just read a couple of the comments in the chat. Two of them are from Imhotep actually. I think I missed one though. Because this one doesn't have the okay. I'm gonna have to go back and check. Media right now, Medai work. Depend how long the stream goes. Okay, depending on how long the stream goes out. Yeah. Cool. Where you're there now. And Chikezi says, out of interest, if you do not mind, what is the difference of opinion with Baba Smalls? Baba J. Small is an ardent defender of President Paul Kagame, and I am not. Our brother Omkal mentioned PLO Lumumba, who, as I said in a recent conversation with Elder Cecil Gutsmore on this channel, his analysis is most unfortunate for me. Yeah, most unfortunate. And I agree with brother Omkal that when you find ardent Kagame supporters, their analysis is very incomplete. Their analysis is very it's lacking, yeah, in certain information. And it usually relies upon excusing Kagame of his policies in relation to the Congo based upon the neo-colonial selloutery of the Congolese government. Okay? And as I've said before, brothers and sisters, we don't challenge the policies of Kagame in defense of the Congolese government. For the most part, the presidents and the policies of the government of the Congo have been a contributory factor to the dynamic that we see in the Congo and in the Eastern Congo in particular. They are complicit. The difference is that nobody was championing Joseph Kabila as the future of Africa and a revolutionary Pan-African leader. Yeah. The distinctive difference here. And the role that the Rwandan government has played as basically effectively taking over from Mobutu in terms of being the West man in that region is very different. Yes. In degree than the role that the Congolese government has played. The role of the Congolese government has generally been subordinate. So I'm assuming you can still hear me. Let me know if you can't. Can I still be heard? Because something are going around here, so but I know you can't see me. But let's let me know if you can hear me, because I try to work out the thing right here now. All right. Okay, good. You can hear me. All right. We're dealing with some technicals, brothers and sisters. I'm gonna wait for Imhotep to come on, and then I'm gonna close out the show. But giving thanks for all those who have continued to join us. For those who were looking forward to the conversation with Brother Heru Ofori Atta, and you're just joining us, we have had to postpone our session with Brother Heru upon his request. And so once we get the date, we will be bringing it to you. Our brother is fine. He just needs to deal with some things, and we'll be bringing it to you shortly. So far, our brother Omkal, who's from Congo, has come forward to share some perspectives, and we'll be bringing him back again to go a bit deeper into the history on the peopling of the Congo. Yeah. And so that's important because it is a contributory factor to the dynamics that we see taking place at the moment. And so we're just having a conversation with him about the Pan-African nature of those conversations and trying not to feed into the idea that this conflict is an ethnic conflict. Our brother Sly Mido, who spoke at our events where we hosted Brother Kemiseba a couple years ago, 2 years ago, in fact, this month in 2023, made the point that the Western media likes to promote it as an ethnic conflict, and it's not an ethnic conflict. Yeah. And so, I take wisdom from what our brother has said. And so we always are guarded against promoting the conflict or even reasoning in such a way that would allow people to come away with the conclusion that tribalism is the essential component of what is taking place there. Even in relation to what our brother Omkal has said, which is true, that there are some who refer to themselves as Tutsi, who believe they have quite literally a God-given right to rule over the rest of the region. That sensibility is a sensibility that was engendered during colonialism. Yeah. As Brother Leader Mandaka said in our session last week on the Kagame Enigma, part 2, he went into the history. And if you have not seen that session, I encourage you to go check out that session, brothers and sisters. Yeah. Part 2 in particular, where he goes into the extent to which Belgium forces created this, exacerbated a social distinction, created a class distinction, and graduated that class distinction into a quote-unquote racial and tribal distinction, even though what we refer to today as Hutu and Tutsi and Twa in that region speak the same language, Kinyarwanda. Yes. And so one of the things that took place during colonialism is that the colonizer, who was religiously minded, taught that the Tutsi were not quote-unquote Bantu. And this is a dynamic that you see all over East Africa. And that the Tutsi were somehow Chadiko-Nilotic. For some reason, which one is slipping me at the moment, yeah? But based upon that colonial distinction, suggested that they came from another region and that they're culturally, yes, superior, and that they are descendants of the Hebrewic people, or have some descendancy from the Hebrewic people in a way that the so-called Hutu did not. Yeah. And so that factored into the dynamics that we see in Central Africa, some of which is still playing itself out today. And so some of our people who are referred to as Tutsi were engendered with what is called Tutsi supremacy and imposed with a superiority complex. And then some of our brothers and sisters who were therefore referred to as Hutu responded to that entire dynamic in what Brother Leader Bandaka described as with the nebulous concept of Hutu power. Yes, which manifested itself in an attack against the Tutsi above and beyond, and sometimes not even addressing the colonial nature that created the context for the conflict in the first place. Yeah, but then he also went on to demonstrate that there were some brothers and sisters, Hutu and Tutsi, who understood that this was a game, a trick that had been played on us by colonizers and attempted, yes, to bring the Hutu and the Tutsi together in an anti-colonial fight. And he mentioned a number of leaders, all of whom were assassinated, brothers and sisters. And so I once again encourage you to go check out that particular conversation, the Kagame Enigma, part 2. Right. Imhotep said people are calling. Man said, big up Trinidad, but make Carnival cheap again. I agree, you know. Carnival a price out the masses. Right, you know what I mean? Right. Bigging up Virgin Poppy in the building. Bigging up Robert Dulani there as well. You know what I mean? Bigging up Kwame. Yeah, you know what? I did see that video. I haven't watched it yet. He said that the Jews are not white. You know, I don't really subscribe to that reasoning. And I suspect that this may be a holdover from our brothers, Seventh-day Adventist, you know, inclinations. I think his reasoning prior to this particular statement here has been more sound, yeah, which is the fact that if we take inspiration from the Jews of the Bible, then our inclination should be to focus on ourselves and our original indigenous identities, brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? So yeah, I wasn't aware that's exactly what he was saying, but based upon the title of the video, you could see that it could feed into that narrative. You know what I mean? At the same time, despite disagreements with whatever differences of perspective that we have with our brother Maponga, generally speaking, I find him to be an insightful and purposeful elder. And so we look forward to, you know, to reasoning with him, and we'll see where that goes. Yeah. Yeah, brothers and sisters, you know, the Abrahamic thinking has a very strong, deep stronghold on the minds of African people. And, you know, some of us will do all kinds of acrobatics and gymnastics to bend and shape ourselves in the image of these chosen people. Yeah. And I think we do ourselves a great service as African people when we're just not concerned with being chosen as far as chosen means according to the children of Abraham. That we'll do ourselves a great service when we just choose ourselves. Yeah. That we don't have to be Jew, Hebrew, Shahaba in order to be chosen and to choose ourselves. That we can be chosen if we choose ourselves as Yoruba. That we can be chosen. We are chosen if we choose ourselves as Bakongo. We are chosen if we choose ourselves as Indebele. We are chosen if we choose ourselves as Kikuyu. We are chosen if we choose ourselves as Dinka and Nuer. We are chosen if we choose ourselves as Ewe and Ashanti and Fon and Bamleke and Banyarwanda. We are chosen if we choose ourselves as African people. And when we decide that Kimpavita and Ose Tutu and Odudua and Mumbi and Gikuyu and Nandi and Shaka and Mbuyane and Ya Santewa and a Comfort Noche are just as worthy of us celebrating being descendants of, we will solve a lot of problems. The Oduduwa and Orunmila are just as prestigious, and if not more prestigious in relation to African people as Isaac and Jacob, for those who adhere to the Abrahamic paradigm. We will do ourselves a massive service as a people when we choose ourselves, in my humble estimation. Imhotep, may I wait upon you, you know? May I wait upon you before we close out the show because you did come through and, you know, true say, are you name Imhotep? We're going to give you some grace. So if I don't see you in the next couple of minutes, we're going to close out and you can come back next time. All right. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything in the chat. If you want me to read out your comment, please, at Kimbunga Media. For those who are just joining us, we were scheduled to have a conversation with our brother Heru Afori Atta concerning our follow-up from a previous conversation on President Paul Kagame. Our brother has requested a postponement, and so we have graciously accepted. And so once we have set up a date, we will be bringing him to you. One comment earlier said that I've been falling asleep to the spring equinox video. I've been getting a lot of love about that spring equinox message. Yeah, so give thanks. The body of Asa, the mind of Osset. Much appreciated, family, for the love. Yeah, on that particular message. I don't know. Yeah, I was a little bit surprised by the response to that video. It was above and beyond what I expected. So much appreciated, and I hope that ones and ones are just as given to the previous message, Omowale and Lumumba, the makings of a revolution. Okay, we've got another guest right now, and I do recognize this name. I'm not going to assume that it's the brother that I am aware of, but let me just check. Brother Asar MK. Is this the brother Asar MK?
This is the one. This is the my brother Shaka going in over here, man. Goodness.
Yes, sir. Much appreciated, brother. I don't even know if you're familiar with me like that, but I am somewhat familiar with you and what you represent. So much appreciated.
All things like a song on the throne. The great eye watches everything. Much appreciated.
Well, regardless, I do appreciate you taking the time to come and join me. Like I said, your reputation precedes you, so it's an honor to host you, my brother. And brother Imhotep is here, and I don't know if there's a you know, there's something going on here. If there's a relationship between both of your presence here at the same time, because I know y'all roll in the same circles. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know. Peace, Imhotep.
Imhotep, Sonny, the chat.
It's a little loud on my side. Apologies for this.
Yeah, tell the girl if to stop calling your phone when you're up on Kimbunga Media. You know what I mean?
No,
yeah, go on.
I actually can arrange a machine specifically to do this kind of things, to be able to a much more powerful machine, so that I could join these streams more frequently. So yeah, it was actually HP support that I was on the phone with.
No problem. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So two things. One, I was listening to Fela Kuti recently, and I'm glad that he hosted a Kimbunga because I was holding on to this information for a while until it was relevant. It never occurred to me, Shakara and Shakara. I said Shakara, you know, it just, sometimes I'm sitting down listening to it and I say, what the hell? I wonder if this brother named after this song, boy, or name in reference to this song, you know? So I just thought I would bring that in.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
A little bit more seriously, in Trinbago, we in a period of some political instability, boy. Our prime minister a few months ago just up and told the country that, well, first things first, PNM, the ruling party, was supposed to have internal elections. They cancelled the internal elections without telling the party members themselves anything, or at least with significant enough time to keep them informed. Then the prime minister, about a month later, came out and told the country that he was going to resign before his term was finished, and he done with politics basically. And then, listen, it's been serious.
Yeah.
Then we call it. They had their own party, like I guess the follow up for what the internal elections was supposed to have been. They had the follow up to that conference. Came out of that conference, and one of the, you know, I actively don't like this one, so I need to be careful with what I'm saying, so I don't slander him, you know, internationally. Right. But a person who, let's say, is fairly new to the party and has newspaper articles of him, of people getting expelled when he was in secondary school for beating him up after him bullying them for years in the school. So he bullied somebody for years. The next day, he come to school, beat him with a baton, and the young boy gets expelled. Now, it just so happens that this person, they chose to be the prime minister now. His father was on the board of directors for the school when this happened, right? He's also somebody who I may have come on this program before and said, I detest, because he has no problem actively watching the Trinbagonian public in the face and lying to them. I interviewed him in the run-up to the 2015 elections, and a matter of like mathematical fact, he watched the country and just lied to them about electoral systems and that sort of thing. And so this is the person who has been unceremoniously foisted upon, you know, the public of Trinidad and Tobago in the run-up to the election, which they called at the end of March. They said it was the end of April, so we have 1 month of campaigning. And the other option is the party that most recently looted the treasury. Within 5 years, they spent $450 million between, I think, hold on. You even understand why I'm going to say it. You even really understand why I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
So if I remember correctly, 2 or 3 attorneys were paid out through the Ministry of the Attorney General, $450 million in the course of 5 years. That is just what was paid to them out of that one ministry, right? And I have it unreliable information from the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Finance at the time, which would have been 2020, or 2015, that when they left office, meaning when the next government came into office, there was enough money to run the country for 3 days, and only 3 days, right? This is the level of looting that went on the last. So we have this overt, pale skin, I need to be very careful what I say. Somebody who's very willing to lie to the public. And then we have this party, this party who was headed by some of the same people who were part of the looting administration before. Trinbago is just in a very strange political place right now.
Yeah, my brother, this requires a show. And I know at the beginning of the year we were scheduled to do a show on or we suggested to do a show on the state of emergency. But I tell you what we do this month, definitely. You let me know who I should bring on to explain this thing, and I'll bring them on, and we'll do a Trinbago political focus. Yeah, on you know what I'm saying. We'll break it down for the people. Then how that sound?
No, that sounds fantastic. It gave me a serious task there to find. I could find 2 people.
Yes, 2 or 3. We don't need if it's even 1, but preferably 2 or 3. Yeah, so we can go in and break down the situation from the state of emergency come right through Carnival till now. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. How was Carnival, by the way?
I was inside. I was inside.
You was
I went
inside.
Cambole. I went inside. This year felt like a bloody year to me. So Cambole is like the beginning of Carnival, and it's kind of get the tone for
Yes.
Carnival for the year. For people like me,
Yes.
Carnival
Yes.
kind of bloody this year. I see my ass inside.
I hear that.
Yeah,
I was enjoying the music, but yeah, every time I see Cambole, that's where I really want to be in. And I feel like sometimes for some people, once them go Cambole, them don't really want to go nowhere else. Because you're not gonna get the same vibes. You know what I mean?
At some point, I'm going to get more involved, or I'm going to start participating or attending more stick fighting events, and
Right.
that might be the only thing
Yeah.
I do besides that whole mass that I do for the carnival
Right.
season. This mass thing, I really do have a lot of patience.
No, I hear you, King. I hear you. My brother, we'll come back to you. Feel free to stay where you are. But I want to bring on our good brother, Asa M. Carr. So go ahead, my brother. What is it you wanted to share with us today?
You're on mute. Good.
You're on mute, my brother.
I gotta unmute myself to talk, don't
Yes.
I? Huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's important.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what our brother brings up, man, it reminds you of what Ptah said. If you're a man who leads and you're charged to direct the affairs of a great number, seek out every well-adjusted deed so that your conduct may be blameless. Great is ma'at, lasting in effect, undisturbed since the time of Basar. And one who punishes the transgressor of laws, though the heart that robs overlooks this, baseness may seize his riches, yet crime never lands its wares. And it sounds like you're going through a situation like that over there in your country, but you know, you don't have to stir the waters too much. You know, just make sure everyone around you is organized. You see what we dealing with here. We got the Trump situation. He done overturned stuff that been back since civil rights. And then he started to try to do things to punish the people economically, but he didn't realize African Americans aren't the ones on welfare. Europeans are, and so he had to pull back a lot of that stuff he was doing. We're the middle class now out here, so if he didn't know that, he knows that now.
Yes,
and it's just a matter of organizing. Make sure that you're doing stuff for the future that will allow you to create your own jobs, create your own businesses, and regardless of if you live in a different country, you can rely on yourselves, whether it's food, grocery store, trucking, whatever the case. It needs to all be handled in-house, and the outhouse, you know, you can do business with them too. It's no different than a Mexican, an Arab, or any other culture that comes to a country. They usually do business in-house. So it's time for the African to do business in-house before you do it outhouse. You know what you do in the outhouse, so you should know that. But speaking of what you were talking about earlier, you're right. You know, you got so many people who run around. You got your ankh on, but Abraham is in your mouth. Abraham is in your mouth. You don't know nothing about the story of our set. You don't know nothing about Asar. You can tell me about Allah and all these other people. You so African, but you don't know no African stories. How you don't know no African stories? Especially in the case of our set and Asar and Haru, which is the divine family. When we start talking about problems you might have with your brother, and the problem Asar had with Set. When you see jealousy and enmity, when you talk about the story with the Asar having to deal with two women, one pregnant, incidentally, one pregnant. You understand what I'm saying? These are the types of discussions that you should be easy to bring out from those stories. When you talk about people in the home who try to do profuse things to a child, when you have the story of Set and Haru and how to handle these things, and the discussion that needs to be had, and the court proceedings that took place in the mythos. to bring him up on charges, to defame him. And then how to talk and deal with that child afterwards, because Heru kind of felt a certain way in the mythos. Remember, he smacks us Aset's head off because that's her brother, and she felt sorrow for him too. But there's a time to feel sorrow and when not to feel sorrow. There's a time to deal with these issues, and that's what those mythos are for. They talk about the African home, and half of y'all don't even deal with those stories. You're dealing with some other story that has nothing to do with you. It's a different remedy for a different culture. Deal with your culture.
Absolutely. You know, I know you're a man that studies the Kemetu tradition quite deeply. And that particular story, and I was quite surprised by the response that I got from a recent video that I put out that was based upon that particular story. But there are different iterations of it throughout time. Yeah, as I'm sure you're aware. And I guess it's interesting to explore with you what you make of the different iterations of it throughout time. Some aspects of the story, even some of the aspects of the story that you just outlined, appear later in later versions that weren't there in previous versions. And then there are some who say that some of those later versions were influenced by either a Greco-Roman influence or a time whereby different characters in the story were being likened to certain invaders, and associated with certain invaders who were coming into the Nile Valley at that time, and so that kind of had an impact upon, you know, the different aspects of the narrative. What is your particular perspective on that? On those
well, it's
issues?
true, and you make a good point. We had pulled out one of the Greco stories where they made blind Heru, the older Heru. He's blind and he's deaf, and he finds her set on the beach while she's sorrowing and rapes her on the beach. And so this is from what era? The Ptolemaic and Roman era.
Yes.
So they're gonna make your hero look defamed. Remember, the Necharu become the Titans in the Greco story. So people forget that. Remember, Hercules is an African Necha, and then becomes later a Greco Necha. So that's in his story. For those who don't know, and you just get pieces of the Greek story, he's a version of Heru. So a lot of people don't know that. They don't do the research. You don't know the mythos. So when you get even Seb and Newt, Seb in the later story does an egregious act to his mother, does an egregious act to Newt, and these are things that you find in other cultures' homes. You don't see Africans doing that type of stuff in their home. But this is the wrong remedy for you. You need to make sure you get to those original stories, to those original mythos, and then you have a whole body of people who actually lived that you can pull from. So you should be able to pull from all these things. This is your story is real. You don't have to rely on this or that or something that's outdated or I won't say outdated, because time means nothing if it's still beneficial to you. But
yes, sir.
Yeah, things that are not a remedy for you. Incest is not a big issue in the Black home. It's always been one in the European home. Their mythos tend to show that. And when you go to them Greek stories, Hercules, you tend to see that type of stuff. So when you're in this African realm, it's a bit different. And so when you start to get to those later renditions of stories or retold stories or added endings from a Greco or from a Roman perspective, sometimes it's important to leave those out because that's not from you. That's a remedy not for you. That's a remedy for them.
Absolutely, my brother. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's just interesting to explore that, and I wonder. Somebody challenged me today, and I'm yet to respond to the comment. I'm not sure if I'm going to respond to the comment. Why you laugh?
You said you ain't respond to the comments yet. That's like
yeah. And I may not. I just haven't had time today.
What'd he say?
Basically that because I delivered this presentation, this message, where I made the statement. I said something to the effect that within the narrative, a significant portion of the narrative, within the narrative itself, it can be argued that Osset is the primary agent, and somebody took me to task for saying that because they said that Asar is the true self. And if you put Osset before above the true self, then you could run the risk of putting the ego above the true self or something of that nature. I'll explain my reason for the statement that I made, but I'd be interested to hear what your perspective on Osset is in the narrative, as far as being one of the or if not the primary agent within the narrative.
Absolutely. Well, Osset is your healer.
Yes.
Osset is the knowledge. Yes. Osset is the one that builds your household. So when she goes to seek Ra, she remember the story says Osset grew tired of men. How many women that's watching right now, y'all grew tired of men? Yes, how many of y'all get tired of how they treat y'all, how they act, they dictate to you? You get tired of men. They do. Yeah. And so we understand that. When she grew tired of men, remember, and that's why I say these stories have such an impact on the African household. Remember at the party, Nebet, who's the twin sister of Osset, approaches Asar and gets pregnant. That's how Ampu becomes the dad. Or that's how Ampu becomes the son. So that's not Set's son. That's Asar's son. And so this is one of the things she had to deal with. You understand? You're tipsy at a party. You done mess with some girl and you're coming home. And now your good wife has to deal with your situation. Your good wife got to deal with your situation, and you've been outside doing way too much, and somebody else is pregnant, and now you coming. This is an issue in the Black community all the time.
Yes.
All the time. And so what did she do? She after Set slams him in the coffin and all that stuff, which is not the important part here, but once he puts her in the house and exiles her. Matter of fact, it's funny. I just had that story up. You mind if I share my screen?
No, go ahead.
Let me share my screen. I just had the story up. That's funny. Share screen. Let me put entire screen. Let's look, because that's the problem. They don't ever look at the story. Sorrow vices. So let's go to the top where it starts. She's locked in one of the houses that Set put her in, because Set took charge of the locality after he knocked off Asar, right? And she's putting her stuff together. She calls on her 7 friends, her girlfriends. She done called on her girlfriends. Let me go to the top real quick, just so y'all can see where she's at. Matter of fact, because we're not going to read the whole thing or nothing, but them 7 scorpions she called on. These are sisters right here to come forth and help her out. But we're going to go back up top here, because we want to look. Here it is. I am my Set. I came forth from the house. Placed me, my brother Set, in it. Jehuti, it was another man who had to help her get out after her man got killed. How many of y'all deal with fallen brothers who leave children behind that got killed? Another man has to deal with the situation. How many of y'all deal with a baby daddy who don't want to be around the children, and another man comes around and he has to deal with the children?
Yes.
That's our Set situation right now. I am Aset. I came forth from the house. Place me, my brother Set, in it. Behold, said to me, Jehuti, the great one, chief of Ma'at, chief of righteousness in heaven and earth. Come, Isis, come out, Aset, Necheret. Good it is to possess obedience. Life is to the one who is led by another. Let me lead you, sister. Come over here. You and who? Your son.
Your son.
Your neck and your child. Come over here. I know what happened. But his limbs will grow. He will grow strong, holy, if I look after him. So, brothers and sisters in the community, when you see a sister out there like that, it's your job, if you want to holler at the sister, to if you see she got a family, you know what you're stepping into. You know what you're stepping into. She's in sorrow. You present a remedy. If you step in her life, you need to be that remedy. Jehuti was that remedy. Whether he stepped to her physically or whether he stepped to her just as a friend. When you see that child that she's carrying, it's your job to help raise him, to put him on that throne.
Yes, sir.
And he shall be made to rest upon the throne of his father. He need to be strong as he had a good father. And girlfriends, while you running around gossiping and bumping your, oh, she got this many cows. Look, the 7 scorpions came to help too.
Yeah.
That's how your girlfriend should be. So it's not Aset that was so much the issue. She wasn't the issue. It was her situation.
Yeah.
And the situation she was put in. Once you put in that situation, how would it? They say it takes a community. Where your girlfriend's at? What you doing? Why you dealing with this guy if you know he not going to be there for the child? What you doing? Yeah. Why'd you let him in the house when you knew he was funny style? So these are the things that we have to look at. Why your girlfriend running around with your name in her mouth and she don't ever help you do nothing when it comes to the child, to your lifestyle, none of that. Who's around you? And why are they around you?
Yes, sir.
I think it's still showing that I'm sharing. I ain't sharing them with you.
Yeah, Robert. Thank you for that rundown. The logic behind my argument is that if I was to look at the whole, by the way, out of interest, and for any of the scholars and Bible scholars watching, where did you get that particular translation?
And that particular translation is in the E.A. Wallace Budge. I think some people just need to do that. Now, if I would have went to the TLA, it reads pretty much the same way. And a lot of people, if you know me, brother, so you see me read Metal Nature. You see us going at TLA and you see us read it without TLA discussion. And then we read it and we might have an expert on and we'd be like, how did you see this? Because this word says that. So why are you translating it like this? So when we go in, we look, I could go right to the Metal Nature. There is just to help because it has a description underneath. It has a transliteration underneath, but I don't even need that. Some people do though, and it's necessary if you don't have it to at least get that, at least get the transliteration and see what's going on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Much appreciated, my brother. So just to explain what my logic was for making that statement is that it appeared to be the case that if we was to imagine a timeline for that particular narrative, that most of the action in the story would probably be taken out of what Aset was doing, right? So obviously we know that Asar is taken out at a certain point. He's resurrected at a later point in the story, and then avenged at a later point in the story. But Aset is the one who's going around gathering the pieces of the body. Aset is the one who performs the actual rituals, to resurrect the body. Aset is the one who raises Heru to the point where he could become the avenger of his father. So I was simply making the point that if it can be argued that Aset is the primary agent in the story because so much of the action in it revolves around her. You know, and so we tend to, in the light of Asa, forget, or you know, not properly position the activity, yeah, the actual agency that are set, that light that she's displaying throughout the narrative. For me, is very, very important for us to understand, you know.
Absolutely. And that's why well, go ahead, brother Sedimentep, hop in.
Wait, actually, I wrote them down so that I couldn't forget them. So if you want to go ahead, quick, it's okay. No,
now go on.
Go in there and hit the like button before you start talking, y'all. Hit the like.
Most
good time, bro.
Go, brother.
Next, right. Right. So 3 points on some previous points that the good elder Osa MK brought us. And it's been a while since I see this, so it's really good to be on a panel with you again. First things first, you were speaking about some of the, let's say, later additions to Egyptian stories, or well, Kemetic stories rather, that they may have been influenced by the Greeks and or the Romans, right? And so that it's good to leave some of those things behind. Those aren't the things that our people would do. I agree with that sentiment almost wholeheartedly. I just wanted to add to that there may also be, maybe not necessarily in Egyptian, but probably also in the Egyptian corpus, some traditions which are fully indigenous, which it is useful to leave in history. You know, not everything that our ancestors did, which was either good or bad for them at the time, is necessary to bring into the present with us. And I think it requires, I actually put a new title on myself here for this show, Student Philosopher. I feel like folk would really engage with the philosophy of these things seriously enough and really internalize them, and it becomes dogma. And so we pass along tradition for tradition's sake, as opposed to understanding the underpinning philosophy that is the purpose of the tradition being carried along into the future. So that's just one. On a similar vein, though, speaking about Ifai Sheshe, when you spoke about this story, or has he dipped out, or the other?
No, sorry, brother Asa MK, that was me by accident. My apologies, my brother. I was trying to negotiate something back here, and I've accidentally kicked you from the studio. So feel free to come back, brother Asa MK. I was gonna wrap up the show soon anyway, but yeah, that was a complete accident, my brother. So my apologies. Do feel free to come back. My apologies. Oh gosh. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you good. It's your show, brother.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I think, well, maybe I'll leave the point I was just about to say, just so in case he had anything to add, and he's coming back, just so we can get his input. So the third one instead is that you were speaking just now.
Sorry. One second, but sorry, Asa MK. That was my fault. I was an accident. I actually inadvertently cut you off, and I was trying to just negotiate some things back here. So feel free to come on if you want to. I'm gonna wrap up the show soon anyway. But yeah, if you had anything to say in response to what brother Imhotep is saying right now, feel free to come back. But yeah, that was an accident, so my apologies. Go ahead.
I just look in the stream chat. Meloman, the answer is yes. Right, that is what. Secondly, right. So you were speaking just a little bit earlier about some folks challenging the idea of Osset being the agent in that story, because Osa is the true soul, you don't want to diminish the true soul, etc., etc., etc. I'll be very honest. And I don't know who I'm shooting at when I make this statement. That stinks very much to me of Abrahamic man is the head of the household foolishness. And I'll be very honest, I can't stand that. I don't know that concept has a solid foundation in African philosophy, especially the way that it is manifested in diasporic African communities, maybe even in continental, but I'm not so familiar with them. In diasporic African communities where I often tell my female friends, when I was growing up as a youth man, I was not socialized to think of females as full human beings, right? They're not the perfect, you actually use the perfect word. They were not agents. They did not have agency over their own life. They were rewards for the, the blessing of the lottery of being born a man. You get somebody to make it your end and clean your house and them kind of thing, right? Organize your house. And it's only, I'm very blessed. I've had a lot of very patient, intelligent female friends who took me through the chauvinism that I was manifesting and how it is, how it hurts their feelings. But not just hurt their feelings, but how it's like dehumanizing and insulting and that kind of thing. Absolutely. And so when I, it kind of, I don't want to diminish psychiatric jargon, but it kind of triggers me when I hear certain comments coming from Africans that seem to be founded in this man is the head of the household, man is the epitome of human existence. Foolishness now, because I don't know, and maybe you could elaborate for me, I don't know that has strong foundation within African philosophy.
No, it really doesn't. There's a and I don't remember it word for word, but there is wisdom coming from the Nile Valley even about the agency of the wife in the home and the man not overpowering her and study her. I forget the actual, and I believe it's Patahotep, but I could be wrong on that particular one. But the guidance is to basically, it says words to the effect that do not tell her to put it in the right place if you see that she does it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Effectively, don't be ordering your woman about the house, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There is wisdom in our coming out of the Yoruba cosmology, where it is said that the Orisha, who are male, Eshu, Shango, Ogun, you know what I'm saying, etc., etc. They were going about doing stuff, and they found that whatever they were trying to do, it wasn't successful. Yes,
I promise you.
So they saw. Pardon?
That is exactly the story I was going to bring up with Osan.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So they found that it wasn't successful. Yeah. And so they sought Olodumare to ask, why is it everything we're trying to do right now, it's not happening, it's not successful? Yeah. And Olodumare, based upon instruction that Olodumare had given previously, asked them, where is Oshun? Oshun, for those who are not aware, is predominantly depicted as a feminine principle, mother of fresh water, etc., associated with rivers, healing, fertility, abundance, wealth, and so on and so on and so forth. And Olodumare asked, where is Oshun? And nobody could give an account for where Oshun was. Olodumare said, but I told you, wherever you're trying to do, if you do not involve Oshun, it will not be of success. Yeah? So Olodumare instructed them to go and find Oshun. And they did so, and they involved Oshun, and then the things that they were trying to do became successful. And I found similar stories around. Yeah, it suggests that our ancestors understood that there was something about masculine nature that if it was not balanced, that it had a tendency to become to take over, and in some instances become oppressive. So we see that narrative, and it's unfortunate at the moment. Because when I started the show, there's this show that is, everyone in the UK and supposedly around the world is talking about at the moment, called Adolescence, that is supposed to be exploring issues of masculinity. I don't know if it's popular in Trinidad or in the Caribbean, but definitely in Europe. Yeah, I haven't watched it yet either, but everyone's talking about it over here. But it's basically exploring a lot of the issues that we see are come out to the Andrew Tate narrative and how it's affecting young boys. Yeah. And I've been like, I work with young people, so I've been in situations where I've asked young black boys, where do you get your ideas of manhood? And they tell me Andrew Tate. And there's a whole conversation that has to come out of that. Yeah. And it's partly because of the culture that we're living in, and some people, you're right, do try to impose that from an African point of view. That's not to say that you will not find male leadership within African family. You do, right? Let's not get it twisted, yeah. But it's often more nuanced than people realize. And when you study history and culture in response to colonial challenges, oftentimes the role of the man is often imbalanced with the role of the woman, as the role of the woman is diminished. Yeah. In the context of, so if you read, for example, Mama Ife Amaduimi, and people will be familiar with the concept of the fact that the women control the market, yeah, with predominantly within particularly West and Central African indigenous cultures. But what she goes into is what that means in terms of economic and political power.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That the women wielded economic and political power as a result of the fact that they controlled the market. And so where things weren't going right, a form of protest might be how the market operated or didn't operate, because the women are putting their work right, because of the women organizing themselves in a particular way. The women organizing themselves in the market, having a social function in terms of conflict resolution, in terms of keeping stable families afloat. And there's all kinds of different things. And then she ties that in another book called Matriarchy, African Foundations, the Igbo case or something like that, where she connects that to how that is depicted within the cosmology in relation to feminine depicted deities. One in particular that she goes into is Idemili in the Igbo cosmology, and how the people's reverence for Idemili had implications for the role of women in society and how women were considered, yeah, within a society in terms of their leadership roles. So there's a lot that we need to explore, and I would recommend Mama Marimba Ani. She has a message, you can find it on YouTube, on To Be an African Woman, and she goes into some of those dynamics using Igbo, using Nile Valley civilization and other civilizations to make her case. You know what I mean?
Mama Marimba, so, yeah. You're not recommending Sister Shahrazad Ali?
No, not today, my brother. I'm sorry.
Oh, gosh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, not to say that she never has anything to say, you know, but I don't think holistically. I think that there are other places where we get a more holistic argument. Let's put it that way. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Again?
Just to pull it back so I believe the Odu that you were referencing earlier, and for those who don't know, the Odu Ifa is a corpus of 256 iterations of the divination system of Ifa in Ifa Ishishi. Yeah, I believe the particular Odu that you are referencing is Osheotura. Osheotura is sometimes referred to. And when the brother, our elder brother, Osaimka, was mentioning that Osset at some point became tired of men. That's the story that is reminding me of. You know, just kind of an inverse of the story, because it's really they put her aside or whatever. But yeah, in the story, this is she withdraws the water from the earth and created a drought about the earth so that none of their works could be complete. I love that story. I love that story.
Yes. No, yeah, we have to be balanced in this time. You know what I'm saying? I think that we've got a lot of work to do as African men in terms of being agents of the balance that we need to see in our communities as it relates to the masculine and feminine dynamic, the male-female dynamic. Yeah, we have to humble ourselves as men, yeah, certain ways. And that doesn't mean to humble ourselves as men doesn't mean to emasculate ourselves as men. Yeah, and we have to understand the difference between the two, right? That we need to sometimes humble ourselves as men. I think our brother Asa Mkar's explanation of the drama gives expression to why we need to do so. He implores us to understand what Osset was dealing with, yeah, the circumstances that she was placed in and what she had to deal with. And I think that we need to do that a lot more as African men. That's not to say that our sisters don't need to listen to us too. All right, that's not what we're arguing here. I'm talking about ourselves as men now, yeah, and what we need to do in relation to our sisters. Anything else, brother? Set before we wrap up the thing.
Oh, no, I was actually just messaging in the YouTube chat that I'm gonna have to dip. It's 5. I'm actually still at work here, so I have to dip out of here at this point. So give thanks
Okay,
for
no
having me on.
problem. Yes, King.
Oh, but just for clarity regarding the Chimbigonian politics show, is it like a Tuesday show or wherever their availability is, we'll work out something?
Yeah, we'll work it out. Just let me know what going. We can be flexible. Yeah, it's better for me if it fits within the regular times. But yeah, don't worry about nothing. Let's let me know what going. We'll see what going. Yeah, we can
The issue is some of the most progressive politicians that we see in the country, they have at this time every week they have their own live show. So
okay, I understand. But to be fair though, me not look the politician, I look for people upon the ground who know the thing and can explain it. So not necessarily a politician, Yeah. So like I would prefer grassroots activists who are not aligned to any political party. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, okay, very specifically not aligned. That's different. Okay, because I was about to say that and these politicians is the same thing. But okay, not politically aligned.
Okay.
No problem.
Well, let's reason offline in it. We'll streamline the thing properly. Yeah.
All right, of course, no problem. Give that. And peace and power to everybody under the sun.
Blessings. Give thanks to whatever. Always appreciate that good brother. You know what I'm saying? Always love his spirit, his energy, his vibes, humble, you know what I mean? We just love it. Yeah. Give thanks, family. You know what I'm saying? So as said, for those who may be just joining us, we had planned to go live with our brother Heru Ofori Atta this evening to discuss our follow-up conversation on Paul Kagame. Our brother has asked for a postponement, and so we have accommodated, and so we will be announcing the new date soon. Yeah, Africa Liberation Day is approaching, and you can go to the beginning of the show for all of your information regarding Africa Liberation Day and the tour of Changa Mide Maponga coming to the UK next month in the month of May, alongside Professor James Small and her Highness Aluko. Yeah. And so we look forward to receiving all of our elders, in spite of the fact that we share some differences of opinion and perspective in relation to what is currently taking place in Congo. And no doubt we will be able to explore some of those issues when they come, but it will be a pleasure to host them on the shores of the UK, as well as the fact that next month is the centennial of Omowale Malcolm X, and the 17th of May is the date for our grand celebration in London. Check out Kimbunga Media, kimbungamedia.com for all information and tickets, brothers and sisters. Okay, all information and tickets you can find at kimbungamedia.com. And with that, we say unto the Tendai Mwali, be thankful unto the Mother, Father, creative life force of the universe. Kudzai, Mudzimu, Mukuru. We give praises unto our great ancestors, because our ancestors are worthy to be praised. Abibi Tumi, Abibi Fahodi, African power and African liberation for all African people. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe.